Dakota land where the skies are wide and the freedom stands, with a Bible in my hand and a prayer in my heart, living this life where the wild plays its part. Dust on my boots and my hat pulled low, got my trusty rifle and I'm ready to go. Hunting the game as the sun hits the sky, in the heart of the 701 I feel so alive. Guns and the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold, side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. Ranching the fields, the cattle run free, with a purpose so strong, it's our grand legacy. The rivers run deep as we cast out our lines, fishing the waters where the North Star shines. Got the warmth of the sun with the chill of the night, with every shot fired we're ready to fight for the freedom we cherish. The second is true, with family beside us we stand through and through. Guns in the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold, side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. In a world that's spinning with sins that they wield, we stick to our values, our fate is revealed. With the word as our guide, we tread on the earth, a community built from the love, not the curse. Raising our voices, singing loud through the night, for God and our freedom, we'll continue the fight. Let the rifles ring out, let the spirits align. In North Dakota's embrace, our souls intertwine. So when you hear the gunshots and feel that proud sound, know it's faith and freedom that echoes around. From the fields of the ranch to the depths of the lake, with God on our side, there's nothing at stake. Guns and the 71, forever we'll stand in the heart of our faith in this great free
All right. Welcome, everybody. Episode 182 already. I can't believe we've done that many episodes. And my guest tonight is Mr. Nate Brown again. He's still with the NRA, but in a different capacity. But before we get going, by the way, Nate, that song was something that we needed to do something because we were getting dinged with copyright infringements.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and kind of got on an AI thing, which I cannot stand AI, but it worked out pretty good. Most of the video stuff come from stuff I had either done or been part of. And a few other things were in there that were added that were free use, non-copyrighted stuff. And then just put it together. The very ending there was me and my buddy Johnson up in Montana actually doing some duck hunting. So I thought it turned out good. There's one little glitch in there. Rather than saying guns in the 701, it says guns in the 71 at the end. But to fix it just was a nightmare to go in and redo it, so I just left it.
No, it'll work.
AI isn't perfect. Hey, everybody. Good evening, Paul. Hey, Kelly, my buddy over there in Valley City. Brian Warner. Good evening, fellow MVE. And hey, Tom. Good to see you again. I was just on a prayer request deal with him for Alex Belez, the guy that's running for our North Dakota U.S. House seat. So, yeah, been a busy day today and evening already. With that, though, I want to start the show out with a prayer like I do each and every show, and we'll get going. Lord, thank you for the blessing of a beautiful day again today. Thank you for the green grass, for our moisture, and for everything you have given us, especially in the ag community. We also want to thank you for giving us the blessings of just enjoying your creations. Also, we have to ask that you help us, as in Ephesians 6, to put on the armor of God. There are so many enemies out there. The devil never, ever gives up. He's always out there causing chaos, lying to us, tempting us, and we need to have your strength and your armor to protect each and every one of us. We have a lot of battles coming up on our rights, especially the Second Amendment rights. If people haven't been paying attention, a lot of horrible things going through in states like Virginia, Colorado. Now DC is doing some more stuff. It's just never ending. And we ask that you and your divine intervention stop all these things and make those states whole again. Lord, please be with us every step of the way. Please fill our hearts with your love and your word. In your name I pray. Amen. All right. I just feel that we need that help, don't we?
Yeah, for sure.
But, well, I imagine, and I'll put it up here for everybody. I'm sure you know the Second Amendment by heart, but would you want to recite the Second Amendment for us tonight?
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Boy, I never get tired of hearing that. Do you?
No, I was going to show you guys something that I picked up down at the NRA Annual meeting. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a solid ounce of copper with the Second Amendment on it on the backside. Let's see, there you go. You can see it. But anyway, really cool.
Is that one of the vendors
that is in the gold and silver bullion business. And then I also picked up a America 250 coin with 1776 on the back. That turned out pretty good. And then I also got in my new role with the advancement team at Whittington, I got to go to the NRA Ring of Freedom events. So I got a USA 250 Ring of Freedom challenge coin. So I'm all challenge coined up, Clay. I've got lots of challenges to fight for the Second Amendment.
Well, and being in the advancement position, that would be the perfect place to put you in the Ring of Fire. I mean, that's your thing. That's what you guys do. So I do understand that. From even when I was there, we had the Office of Advancement. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So
yeah, I was gonna tell your folks, if you haven't heard of the Ring of Freedom, the NRA Ring of Freedom and Golden Ring of Freedom is an ability for folks to contribute at a high level to support the NRA, ILA, basically any of the programs. They can specifically contribute in any way, but once you become a Golden Ring of Freedom member, you get a gold jacket. They awarded 5 gold jackets at those Ring of Freedom events this year.
Oh, wow.
To obtain a gold jacket, you have to have contributed at least $1 million of net money to the NRA. So it's really exciting to see that level of commitment coming back to the NRA and seeing people give at a high level. So really quick, a plug for that. If you guys know of anyone out there who's got means and that kind of financial capability, please reach out to Clay or myself. The Whittington Center is a 501c3, and it's a perfect home for anyone who's concerned with the politics that's gone on with the NRA. If it's someone who's been a little hesitant to give, you can't find a better place to introduce the Second Amendment to young folks than a shooting range. And the Whittington, if you haven't heard about it, it's a 33,000 acre shooting complex right on the border of New Mexico and Colorado that has 25 separate ranges of all disciplines. It's just a phenomenal place. And going back to your prayer, Clay, the good Lord is, he works in mysterious ways. And as many of you may have heard, I got laid off from the field operations team and was kind of in a position where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but some folks that are well connected within the NRA reached out to me and felt that I'd be a good fit for Whittington. So I ended up having to dust off my old resume and throw it in the hat, and here I am down in Raton.
Yeah, and I've been to Whittington. It's a phenomenal facility. How many disciplines they got there? I mean, it's an all-around shooting complex. That's what it is.
Yep.
We stayed in the compensation. It wasn't competition housing. It was over in the big cabins in the back that have 4 rooms in them.
Yeah, so we have founders cabins and legacy cabins, and
yep.
There's over 100. There's 120 RV spots at Whittington as well, and they're all at least 40 amp. A lot of them are 50 amp hookups, and it's right on, right off of Highway 64. Just about 4 miles is all from the interstate I-25, so it's really handy to get to.
Very easy to get to, and little town of Raton is not bad. I remember when we were out there, we made sure we took a little excursion in, and I think we ate at a Mexican restaurant, one of the local ones, and just kind of checked the town out. But it's just, and there's some great hunting there. People don't know that either. They got a lot of different things you can hunt and put in for tags. Actually, when we were there, a couple of ranges were shut down because there was a hunt going on the other side of that big mountain. So,
yeah.
Of course, we had to take our whack at the white buffalo, which we all finally hit. Took a few shots, but we got dialed in, and I forget, was that it?
I took a couple photos of the white buffalo. It's about 1,123 meters. So
yes, I knew it was out there, and I watched the guy. He was there from Minnesota. We had our regional meeting there is what happened for the reps.
Yeah.
And then we were able to also bring along some volunteers. So I think I had, 2, 4, 6, 8. I think I had 10 or 12 volunteers with me down there, which was phenomenal with what we were doing. So we all had to take a pop. But the one guy from Minnesota, he was using his black powder rifle.
Oh, yeah.
And if I wouldn't have seen it, I don't know if I'd have believed it, but it was pretty cool because, it's black powder. He shot, and then we waited, and then we heard the ring. So he got her dialed in there, though. It's pretty cool, and there's actually been a few folks out there who have shot it with a pistol, even. So I watched the guy do that too. He was shooting at the white buffalo. I think he was using a contender. But that's still, I'm telling you.
There's a guy that's hit it with a Glock 9mm as well.
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, well, I'll tell you what, before we get going too far, I loaded up the video here of that Whittington has. I just took it from their site. So why don't we play that? Because I think it's kind of cool to give everybody a little taste of what the Whittington Center is, and then we can talk a little bit about it. Because I still want to talk about annual meetings. Maybe we'll do that the last half of the show. So. All right, I'm going to bring it up here. There it is. And just give me a minute. There. We don't want our ugly mugs in there. So, all right, here we go. Here is the NRA Whittington Center. Basically, it's their promo video. Yeah, that's pretty cool, ain't it?
That is. It's a neat video.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you haven't had the opportunity to come down to the Whittington Center, I highly encourage you guys to. It's very reasonably priced, for a family getaway, uh, RV spots again, and cabins and lodging, all kinds of options there. Lots of different shoots going on throughout the summer and fall and spring, and it's just a really cool place. And it's high time that the NRA has fully embraced it, and really at the headquarters level have thrown their support in behind it. And they have now, and so going back to your talk about the annual meeting, it's really exciting to see Bill Bockenberg all the way down, Doug Hamlin. Quite a few of those folks are going to be coming out. We really are in a place where the headquarters staff is fully supportive of Whittington. And, obviously I'm here. So somebody saw fit to add value by putting someone in a position strictly to advance the center. So that's pretty cool.
That's the first time, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yep.
It's always been classically within the ED role, the executive director role,
Right.
And now that they've kind of looked at the place and kind of gotten behind it, they decided to spin off another opportunity and put someone in just the advancement role, just to focus strictly on fundraising and to put it on the map, so to speak, and look at all the different opportunities for revenue streams. And
Right.
The whole area is really it's a vacation paradise. This whole area really is. It's not far from Taos, and there's a lot of really cool outdoor rec opportunities close by. So,
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I've been there, and I mean, it's just a phenomenal facility. And if people don't know that it was donated to the NRA, that's how the whole thing come about. They've got the Wilderness Escape program, which is for women. Another great program, and I don't know, that thing is growing. I think now I don't know how many hundreds of people attend that, but it's pretty cool. They've got
and then our outdoor adventure camp.
Yep.
I urge you guys to look at NRAWC.org and go to our webpage. But there's a kids camp that's really grown as well, and it's just a great spot to share the Second Amendment and our love for it with the younger generation. So.
Right. So I know you were asking, how do you interact with the people here that are chatting? Well, the easiest way, next time we have you on, I'm going to make it so you can be interactive. It'll be more than an invite. I'll give you a login. That'll make it happen for you. But yeah, Paul Metz, he says, do they do training classes there? Yes, they do.
They do, yeah. And we're in a position right now where that whole apple cart is being tipped upside down. We're really focusing on making it more and more attractive to all levels of training in all disciplines of for all the disciplines of shooters. So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know some of them they've got the defensive academy, I guess is what they call them now, the academy. But then they do a precision rifle class training. They do NRA certified training courses. I think they got some archery stuff. I'm just kind of trying to remember off the top of my head. It's been
they really do. Yeah, they have a really cool 3D walkthrough archery range.
Yeah,
and dispersed camping. If you just want to go camp, you can at a very low cost. That's something that you could camp some of the cabins are pretty rustic. But if you have a background like I do, that I've spent about half of my adult life in the backcountry of Wyoming, so dispersed outdoor camping, wall tent camping, that kind of thing. I mean, it's a perfect place for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to pull this up here. If it should come up here, there it is, right there. I'll make it a little bigger for everybody. So, what you can see there, that's the founders' cabins. That's the area I was staying in, and you can see there's quite a few there. But check this out: $100 per room for 2 people, or $120 for 3 to 4 people. We had 4 people in our cabin. Yeah. 4 people for $120, $50 a night, essentially. Well, actually, a little bit more. But still, I mean, you can't stay anywhere for that. And they're nice. They've got a commons area with a kitchen and a living room, and then you've got your 4 rooms. I mean, you're going to pay way more. You and I both know you'll pay way more than $120 for 4 people in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Well, man, yeah, try getting a room at the Hampton in Cody, Wyoming in the summertime.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it'll pull this up. Oh, there it is. Can you guys see
Yeah.
that or not? Yeah, there it is. You got your 4 bedrooms in the corners. It's got everything you need. I mean, it isn't even a question. And there's 3 bathrooms in there. So there's plenty of everything. And we had a blast down there. It was a lot of fun. We got to do a lot of shooting. It was very
honestly, Clay,
inexpensive.
it's really the kind of place that if you're looking for an inexpensive opportunity to have a family getaway, again, I mean, you'll have to log in or call in and check on availability. The cabins do get pretty busy in the summertime, but if you're willing to think out of the box, maybe Memorial Day, post Labor Day, kind of right after Labor Day weekend, there's a lot of opportunity in the fall and spring, especially where you could bring your whole family down and stay and shoot, and there's a pro shop, there's ammunition, there's all kinds of shotguns and rifles to rent and to use if you just want to check some stuff out and play with some different opportunities. It's just a cool place.
And if I remember, isn't there a museum there too?
Yeah, and that museum was actually very close to completion. It's the Pete Brownell. Well, it's actually the Frank Brownell Museum of the West, or Museum of the Southwest. So, really cool collection from Frank Brownell. There's some awesome old time guns in there. That museum is actually being completed right now. It's actually there's a lot more in there right now than just what you see on those old photos there, but.
Yeah, and I can tell you that. So when I was out there, this is the new one, right? They just built this not all that long, or did they add on? I knew they were doing something.
The museum was an add-on, yes.
Yeah. So this stuff was actually housed in a different building when some of the older stuff, and it was pretty cool. And I knew they were going to do this, and that's how many years ago. I'm telling you, you're going to want to get out there and see some of the cool stuff. And they've got some local history that's really New Mexico based as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and actually on site, there's some stuff that's kind of that Van Houten. You can barely read it.
New Mexico.
Van Houten was a mining camp that operated as a city. I mean, they had a company store and 1,200 people lived there at one point in time. But there's a coal mine right up on the actual property. So there's a kind of we almost have like our own ghost town,
Yeah. Hey, Dan, good to have. Dan Brown was one of the guys that went with us, one of our volunteers to Whittington Center. So Justin, good evening. And Lynette says, can I just book and come stay for a vacation? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
And I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Just even if you don't go there to shoot, just to see the area.
I'm just going to give you guys all fair warning. It's the kind of place where we've got more and more people that are just coming here with a big fifth wheel, and they just park their fifth wheel here and leave it all summer. They love it so much that they'll actually travel back home, for a couple of weeks, get some work done, and then come back down, and they just leave their fifth wheel there. So it's a really cool opportunity. And the point of, kind of the new NRA 2.0 board and the trustee board of Whittington, they really want to make sure that everybody in the NRA, every member across the state of New Mexico and the country knows that they're open. It's open for business, and they're all welcome. You're all welcome to come. So
yeah, it's there. You can kind of. I'm going to pull down the chat just so people can get.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that impressive?
There's the layout of it. Maybe I'll zoom it up here if it'll come out there for everybody.
Those are the RV campgrounds. I am actually living in the West campground. Pull up the West RV and scroll up a little bit, Clay.
Yep, right there.
I'm all the way at the very, very bottom, and I have a herd of about 25 or 30 mule deer that just live in my yard. So, it's wildlife viewing opportunities. We have deer and antelope all over, of course, in the low country, and then up on the hill, we have our own on-site herd of elk that we hunt every fall.
Right.
We get landowner licenses because of the NRA owns 33,000 acres entirely. So,
well, you said there, you got the West RV campground. Then there's the East RV campground. That's a little bit closer, I think, to the roads or something. Kind of looks. I don't remember honestly.
They're
I can
right
remember
next to each
driving.
other. They're both within a mile of the actual headquarters building. So
yeah, it's a very easy place to maneuver. It's easy to get around. I don't know. We had a blast when we were there, and you can see here some of the ranges on this map. You can go right to the Whittington Center. NRAWC.org. Go to that website, and you can pull this up here, and it shows you everything you need. It just does.
Yep.
I mean, look at that. You got practical police combat. That's your PPC. You got your long range silhouettes, your high power range or rifle silhouettes, small bore, 50-yard pistol, red course sporting clay. I remember when we did the sporting clays. That was a lot of fun. We did some trap. They've got 5-stand. You name it, they probably have it. Isn't that how you'd put it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And there's even a set of horse corrals there.
Yeah.
So if you had any interest in coming down, I'm actually bringing some horses down myself soon. But that's kind of what my advancement role is all about, is to take it and run with it, so to speak. So,
I think it's cool
you can bring a side by side. To Doug Thompson asked if you can bring a side by side. You absolutely can if you have a toy hauler or whatever.
And Doug actually was another one of the volunteers that went with us on that trip. So that's kind of cool that these guys are, because Doug's been there, but it was kind of structured because we were there for our regional meetings, but we still got to see a few things.
Yeah, they're a little bit, we are a little bit careful about you don't want, it's not necessarily like a UTV or side by side or 4-wheeler recreation facility. There's no, it's not a place to race around. We have a speed limit, I think it's like 10 mile an hour, sometimes 5. No, it's 35. It's 35 on the stretches, and there's some roads that are blocked off, and
all right.
It's not, but there actually is. We're in the middle of developing. There you go, Doug. Yeah, it'd be an epic place to ride, and that's exactly where we're headed. I would say within the next couple of years, we're going to develop more horse opportunities and even hiking and mountain biking. So one of the pushes is to really capitalize holistically on the entire property. So, folks can come.
I always felt it was underused.
There was
such opportunities there. And, if you're a shooter, there's lots of things, but there wasn't a lot of extra things there. And they sounds like, just from what I was kind of looking at, they're really pushing to, utilize that property. That's a great thing.
Lynette, it is on the border of New Mexico and Colorado. So if you follow I-25 straight south through Denver and Colorado Springs, and then you pull over Raton Pass from Trinidad, Colorado, right after you come into New Mexico, you'll go past the city of Raton, and 4 miles past Raton, you turn off on Highway 64, and we're about from the town of Raton, it's 8 miles. So
it's fantastic. There's a lot of cool things to say. I think if I remember correctly, me and Dan and Doug and and all the guys that went, we took a picture of all of us right there by the horse, guy riding the horse.
Yeah.
There's a little bit
to
the
Santa Fe Trail runs right through the property. So
I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break so we can thank some of our sponsors. Lynette's husband's one of them there at LAUER Auto Repair. But Lynette, I think you and Axe would love it. I've been kind of kicking this idea around of getting a group of our guys now with G&T701 and head down there maybe with campers and just go down there for a week and forget about the world, do some shooting, and just have a nice, relaxed.
And I've lived in the Dakotas enough to know that, you head down from the Dakotas in late October, early November, and it'll look like September to you guys down there.
Yes, it will. It really will. And while we were there, we even had a slight earthquake. And it's my first time I ever experienced It didn't. It wasn't horrible, but I'm sitting there going, it woke me up, and I'm like, "What is that?" I never had the ground shake because there is a fault line there. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got to do that yet, but it may come, but it's not often. But we happen to get to experience that. So,
Well,
all
I
right.
grew up pretty close to Yellowstone Park, so
Oh,
I'm used to a few tremors here and there.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break. We will be right back. We are with Nate Brown. He is now the advancement officer. And I can probably explain a little of that too. We had the Office of Advancement when I was there, and that has changed into something completely new and different. All right, we'll be right back.
LAUER Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon, Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
All right, we are again back with Nate Brown, or do you prefer Nathan?
Either one, Nathan or Nate's fine.
I think I know you good enough now. I can call you Nate, right?
Yeah.
No, so he is the advancement officer at the NRA Whittington Center. So when I was with the NRA, we had it was new back then, was the Office of Advancement. Same kind of premise. They were going after donors, actually specific donors. And I'm sure you know about that. And it didn't really work out how they thought it would. And then it kind of turned into something different. And now this, I don't know if you're part of that, because I think Whittington Center is part of it.
It's still in existence, actually. The Office of Advancement is live and well. And, really what the point of the Ring of Freedom is just an opportunity for folks to, through the Office of Advancement officers, we all seek out potential donors at a high level, all the way from, the Friends program is great as well, but it's specific to programs. So
Right.
Ring of Freedom folks are folks that typically are making contributions to ILA is a big one.
Yep.
They're the ones that fund certain folks that are running for office, all those types of things. And, the NRA has always been the biggest gorilla in the fight. We're 155 years old this year. And so, I hate to say this, but we're all aging out. I don't know if you've noticed the demographic at the average shoot these days, but if you're not at a 4-H shoot, there's getting to be a lot more kids that are staying home and playing video games and things like that rather than going to the range. So
It's not just that, Nate. It's everything. It's everything.
Yeah, it is. And, we're really in a position in this country, I believe, that, we're one or two election cycles potentially from losing our Second Amendment rights.
No.
I mean,
Reagan said it. We're only one generation away from losing it all.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, if they go in there and, if they decide to load the Supreme Court with a bunch of extra justices, look out, folks, because the world as you know it could change abruptly. So
it's very scary that it isn't so much that the Democrats have a bench, but I know Republicans. I know actually conservative Republicans. They're just so fed up, not necessarily mad at Trump. They just don't want to vote. And I'm like, nah, it's a big mistake because the Democrats always vote.
Yeah.
And they go find votes and they go steal votes.
They may even, people that are dead may vote,
Well, and we've done nothing. This is going down a different rabbit hole. I think the SAVE Act is very important. And I don't care. Thune needs to just drop the bomb and get rid of the filibuster and go to a simple majority, because it's the first time the Democrats take control of the Senate. They're going to do that to us this time.
Yeah.
And we got to pass some things that are going to save our elections. We really haven't fixed any of the problems we've seen in 2020 and 2024 too. Just the whole too big to rig was a real thing. They couldn't do it. They couldn't overcome it. And I'm telling you, I keep warning people. Yes, we have two-party system. I wish it wasn't that, but that's the world we live in. But right now, it is profoundly different between real Republicans and Democrats. Democrats are communist Marxists who hate this country and want to flood us with illegals and completely destroy exactly what the foundation of this country is. At least we have people like the Trump administration standing in the way of that. And it's kind of scary because look at the House right now. Kind of nice that some of these Democrats have resigned because of fraud and other things, but the House it's wavering there on the line, isn't it?
It is.
And I don't think we're ever going to see I shouldn't say that, but it's going to be tough to see a 60, threshold number for the Senate.
Yeah.
And now with all the redistricting going on.
It's gone on and different things like that. It's pretty rough. Yeah. I mean, and Texas is one of those states that's, they're trying really, really hard to take over some counties in Texas. And,
yes.
That's one of those strong houses for the Republican Party. So
I think Virginia is a net loss now from here on out. I just don't see them coming back from what they're doing in there. It's like they want to be the East Coast California. And it's sad because that's where an NRA headquarters is located, is in Virginia.
Yeah.
They might have to make that move to Texas. I mean, I don't know how you function and do the things in that state if they can accomplish what they're on the road to doing. It's going to be very interesting to watch this. I know a few people live out there, and some of them are planning to, if things go through, they're just going to leave. They're going to they're done. They've been fighting that.
Yeah, there are discussions at the high level of NRA ending up in West Virginia potentially.
Well, do you blame them? I mean, I love that building. That building's awesome.
Yeah.
You can't move that building. On that range downstairs, oh, come on.
Yeah. I even got a little peek at the vault when I was up there.
I did. Yes, I was privileged to go see the vault. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal.
That is cool. That's where I had my white gloves on. I was holding, they'd just gotten the guns in from the Monty Walsh movie.
Yeah.
The pistols that tops out. So I got to hold those in my hand. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, you're holding those pistols. Then they're real operational pistols.
Yeah, that National Firearms Museum is a pretty unbelievable spot for sure.
Yes, it is. It's if you ever get out there, if you're out in that whole DC area, make the trip to headquarters and go to the museum. The history there, firearms that are in that facility. And they don't have room to always display everything, but they do their best and they put it in a rotation. There's nothing they just keep hidden from the public forever. They try to do their best to get it out there. So unfortunately, I lost one of the curators that retired, and he was a fantastic gentleman. I got to meet him. They both.
Phil Schreier actually just passed away.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
We we lost Phil, but
Phil and Doug were awesome. They really were.
Yeah.
But so, hey, Jamie's in at 701 Nation. Good to have you with us. And Gene says, I was contemplating entering the Western Nationals over the 4th of July week, but my kids are coming here, so next time. So, yeah, I mean, you look at Whittington, and they've got something going on all the time. It looks like they're doing more than what I used to see them do, and I'm glad to see that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and that place it's really in the national spotlight with the NRA, which is really good. There's a lot of cool things in the works right there, so I'm excited about it. There you are.
Yeah. Wow. I guess Elon must be messing around with Starlink tonight.
So I have to ask you a question, Clay. What does MVE stand for?
That I got to militant. I can't remember myself. Somebody, come on, help me out.
Help me out. I'm a newbie. I've only been on this 3 times now, so
I think it's a militant violent extremist.
701 Nation, JD, good evening, MVEs. I'm trying to figure out what an MVE is.
I believe it means militant violent extremist, if I remember. It was a term given to us by Homeland Security, by the way.
There you go. Yeah. I figured it was.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm pretty sure that was militant violent extremist. But I might be wrong. But that's it's the label they tried to basically, people like you and me, Nate, people like Jamie, people like Dan, any of the people that listen to us, we were considered an enemy of the state, essentially. And I remember seeing these things, and it was written in the Homeland Security paper.
Brian Warner wins the prize for the night.
Yep, militant violent.
Brian, the next time you're at Whittington, remind me, and I've got a Whittington Center 53-year anniversary challenge coin.
Awesome. We're there giving prizes away. All right. And if nothing else,
buy you a box of shells from the gift shop.
I can get a hold of Nate. He can get it to me, and I can get it to you, Brian. So
for sure.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a fantastic facility. Whittington Center has been underutilized for years. It's. I always hate this term, but it kind of is. It's the best kept secret, right? Yeah. I still run into people. I never heard of this place. You ain't the only one, and it's
there are many people that work in the headquarters office in Fairfax that have never been to Whittington.
Yeah, to Whittington. So. Yeah, I was glad we got the opportunity to get out there when we did our meeting because I got to go with a bunch of like-minded people, have some fun, taking our NRA volunteers, and we were reps, just having a great time. But I want to go back. Just on my own, maybe take some friends. Who knows? Maybe we need to do a Guns and 701 episode out there. Wouldn't that be fun?
Here's Brian's challenge coin that he just won.
There we go. Perfect.
I don't know how well you guys can see it, but
it's a little blurry, but you can see the
Then on the back, it has the Second Amendment on the back, actually. So
it's the best amendment in there. They're all good, but that's the best one.
Yeah.
Without it, we don't have the rest of it. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I know we want to talk a little bit about the annual meetings, but I guess why don't you put your information out as to how to reach you if they're interested in any information? Who knows? We might have some donors here. I know that we want the big. You want your bigger donors. We always do, but it's always any donation's great, and it keeps that place running.
To Gene's point, yes, we are. That's one of the main things that I'm trying to get done is to really put it on the national level spotlight with all of our firearms industry partners, and that's in the works, Gene. That's one of the specific events that we're trying to get back to Whittington, and that's just one of the things. Things change, people change. People get frustrated with the way things are with the NRA, and some of those events have moved. But, the NRA is on a great trajectory now. Annual meeting, going back to your point, Clay, annual meeting, that was the first one I'd ever been to. It's really cool. If any of you have the opportunity, next year it'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. It's completely free if you're a member. Obviously, travel and those expenses come into play, but there's no entry fee if you're a member of the NRA. But it's like this year, 14 acres of nothing but vendors. So every firearm company you can possibly imagine. I actually ran into the guys from ANA, secured a really good item for our vendor or for our Founders Day weekend that we have over Labor Day here at Whittington. ANA's actually.
Who are the guys that are out there?
I secured one of these.
Oh,
so that's that's a gun that I just got from A&A to put in the Founders Day weekend. It's a 1 of 250 Henry 4570. So they were there.
Who did
they
Mark
had a
and
booth.
Tanya? Who'd they send out there? Was it somebody you didn't know?
Yeah, your friend Jack Haynes.
Jack. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Jack does a lot of stuff for A&A. He's been hooked up with him for a long time. I recently bought a couple meat grinders from him off Bismarck. Didn't know it was him, and it turned out it was him. So yeah, we kind of
that's a great gun. I'm excited to have that in our. We're not sure if we may do a pre-event raffle with it or something, and we're kind of teasing out ideas. But it's a very special gun. I mean, it's a 1 of 250 and fully engraved and got 250 on it. We're going to put the Whittington logo on the stock. And
fantastic.
It'll be a cool gun. And Founders Weekend is an event that we hold Labor Day weekend at the Whittington Center. It's a 3-day event with food and all kinds of entertainment, live auction, silent auction. And it's kind of a thank you / fundraiser for the Whittington Center. And the Whittington Center is for everyone. You don't have to be a big donor to come to the Whittington Center. At annual meeting, going back to annual meeting this year, it was just an unbelievable opportunity to touch base with folks from every walk of life, all the way across the entire United States that love the Second Amendment, love the NRA, and showcase the ability for folks to just come to the Whittington and celebrate the Second Amendment in a very organic way, by shooting and learning how to shoot different disciplines. That's one of the things I think when you grow up in the Dakotas, we've talked about this a little bit, Clay and I have, you take for granted the public land capability that you have living in the Dakotas or in Wyoming. I mean, Wyoming, you can't beat. You can literally drive out. There's hundreds of thousands of acres of BLM in Wyoming. So if you want to go shooting, it's not a problem. But there's a lot of people that a place like Whittington's really a special place because, it's there to use, and you can walk you can spend a whole day shooting shotgun, and then you could go shoot long range rifle, and then you could go sign up for a 3-gun class and take a course for 3-gun. There you are. Yeah, that's my stuff.
I've been playing around here while we've been talking, but it's like I said, the Whittington Center is a phenomenal facility. If you go out there, spend a week, just do it.
David, it's a magical place for sure. And David Fettig commented that it sounds like a magical place. It definitely is, and every NRA member should really consider it a bucket list item to go say you've shot the white buffalo at Whittington.
Oh yeah, we did, and we were going to have T-shirts, but they didn't have any in the store. Yeah,
they've got a lot now. There's all kinds of opportunities, and nowadays with the modern technology, shooting the white buffalo is kind of a rite of passage. But you can actually shoot 2 miles at the Whittington, so. If you're into extreme long range, we have that capability too. So,
and I know they do an extreme long range clinic.
They do,
or training. So yeah, it'd be definitely worth going. Look at that, all my phones are going off. I guess thanks for listening, guys. But no, I just there's Nathan's information. You guys can pull this up later if you need it, but or get a hold of me. Most of you have my number. Yeah,
reach out anytime. My work cell's on there. I've got an Arizona cell phone now, but don't hold that against me. But yeah, that's me. You can catch my extension on the 800 number or my cell number or any of the above. Shoot me an email if you've got some interest. Our main booking folks can help you look at options for dates and those kinds of things, but. The whole place is getting a complete revision. I would say that, and we're looking at practice score and electronic targets. We're really getting into the modern era of shooting and shooting sports. So,
well, and I think with NRA 2.0, a lot of the new board members, that's why, and it's good. Let's just face it, they just weren't doing much with it. I mean, they had some stuff going on, but it just. I don't know. I always felt it wasn't being used enough, and looks like I'm not the only one who thought that.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, up until taking a job on the 23rd of March, I'd only been here once, and that was because I was contemplating going to work here. So
yeah, and like I said, if you haven't been there, definitely put it on your bucket list. If you're a shooter, you're definitely going to want to get there. And like I said, go down and spend some time. It's a family-friendly atmosphere.
yep.
It's a great place to teach your kids. You know, it's everyone from beginners to experts. There's something there.
Yep, and we're actually looking at some, amazing opportunities for training, trying to incentivize trainers to hold classes there. So, we'll be, kind of do some parallel marketing that way, get some folks to advertise shoots that they're holding and classes that they're holding at Whittington. But again, I want to plug our outdoor adventure camp and our women's outdoor weekend and all those things. Those programs are all listed on the website. The website's a little bit antiquated. We're in the process of doing some work to revamp that and kind of do more to showcase what we have available. But shot marker, exactly. David's hitting on that stuff, and for the shooters themselves, the competitor housing, that's competitor housing right there. That's actually that's all of those heads and stuff that you see. Those were donated by Colonel Robert Brown with the Soldier of Fortune magazine. So that's kind of the commons area at competitor housing. But $75 a night. It's kind of like a dormitory, but a great place to come and just shoot and enjoy it. And if you want to kind of go whole hog, so to speak, you can always stay in a founder's cabin. You stay in the Brownell cabin or the Loopold cabin. And
I see that registration's open February 1st, so I imagine it's full by now. But you could check on it. I don't know.
There's always little glitches and little things, and then again, I want to focus on like the RV options. The RV park, it's an amazing. We have 120 RV spots, so bring your toy hauler and your RV and come down and. Heck, if you want to bring a tent and camp out, I'm also reaching out to the motorcycle folks because, there's a lot of folks that are 2A friendly folks that ride motorcycles and they don't even know that they can come and just camp. A lot of bike folks like to just pull off and camp, so.
And they've even got some primitive camping. So if you're tenting it, you can probably do that. Totally. And it's not that far. I mean, it's called primitive, but it's not what you think. It's pretty easy to access it. So
and even our primitive camping, there's bathroom facilities and stuff that, running water and all that good stuff. So it's a good spot.
So the 2027 camp, they've already got, you can register for that right now. Here's the 2026 camp. Yeah, this is for the Adventure Camp Youth Program, and that's another great one. I know we actually sent some people down there one year. I think we funded them through our state fund committee.
Yeah.
Oh, look at there.
Yeah,
50 cal, that's fun.
The old 50 cal, yeah.
Yep. But I'm telling you, it is something as a shooter, you're going to want to go give it a whirl. That's my belief. It's something you should at least do once. And to me, it'd be a fantastic family vacation.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yep. There, Gene says he camped in the prison area, and the Raton Pass can be exciting in wintertime.
I'm a chief.
I can't believe it would be a whole lot more exciting than North Dakota, but
well, Gene's over there by Mobridge, so he actually lives in Mobridge, South Dakota. So
I've driven through Mobridge in the wintertime when it was a little exciting too.
Well, like when we went down, it was January. So to us, it was beautiful out. We ran out of snow. It was nice out. Not that they don't get snow there. They can, but it's nothing like up here.
Yeah, and even the average temperature in the summertime is pretty interesting. It's like 87 degrees is the average temp. So I don't know.
Right on that line.
I went to high school in Ellendale, North Dakota, and I can promise you it's higher than 87 a lot in the summertime. It's a sweaty Betty out there, southeastern North Dakota.
Well, everybody, again, if you need to get a hold of Nathan, get a hold of me. I can get you his contact information, and he's pretty easy to find. And I can send it all. It's just easier if I just send it all to you and get you hooked up. As far as that goes, go hit that website, and that's NRAWC.org. NRAWC.org. And you can make your own reservations, plans, or they'll hook you up with Nathan. I'm sure that if you ask for Nathan Brown, they'll transfer you.
I'm literally right in. You take the first right once you walk in the main doors of the office, and
You're right there,
right by the gift shop and that whole thing. Yeah, I have a pretty cool office. I got out of my my little travel office when I was in field rep world. There's my office, guys. So
yeah, you got a permanent one. We can put some
got
stuff
a couple of. That's a Dakota whitetail right there. That's a Texas whitetail there. I did a little homage to Texas.
That's big for Texas.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool buck. Yeah, and I've got a Wyoming black bear on the wall and a North Dakota raccoon. So there's a story there, but my blackmouth cur dog and my red heeler had a run-in with that raccoon when I was working in the oil and gas industry. So, and that coon ended up having half of his foot, his back foot was pretty much completely gone. So I ended up having to put a mount on him. He was missing the top half of both ears. Got a bunch of scars on his face, and
you're saying he was a fighter.
Got his foot in a trap and lost half of his foot or something because he was kind of an old trooper. So I thought, well, I probably better get him mounted and put him on the wall so he can be remembered for an old fighter.
All right. Well, we're top of the hour pretty much. We're going to take a quick break. And again, if you want to hit it, NRAWC.org. Everyone listening on the podcast after this, NRAWC.org. That'll get you over to the Whittington Center. Go check out the website and see what they have to offer. I mean, it's fantastic. And we're going to talk about the annual meetings. I can tell you right now, being I see that I think it's 2028, it's going to be in Orlando. I just might have to try and go make that one. But we'll be right back after some words. Isn't that how the TV does it? After some words from our sponsors. Be right back.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
All right, we are back. I don't see Nate back yet, but that's okay. Let's see. David was saying, I don't know, Dave. I've got the volumes maxed out, but I can't tell you if that's why the ads are so loud or not. I'll check that out on the next one we do. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the annual meetings coming up. Again, I just pulled it up here. Annual meetings are coming up. 2027 are going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, April 22nd through the 25th, 2027. And in 2028, NRA annual meetings and exhibits are going to be in Orlando, Florida, May 18th through the 21st. And I'm going to start planning now for that. I know that next year we're already planning. Our group is planning to do the hog hunt. A bunch of us are going down and are taking our kids this time, so it'll be a great time. And that's January, February 2027. But I'm really going to try to make plans to hit the annual meetings in Orlando. I love going to Florida. I think it'd be a great opportunity to go down there and make it just kind of an all-encompassing vacation / fishing / hunting and taking the NRA annual meeting. So, I got to put all that in there.
Yeah, one of the best things about annual meeting, Clay, is that you rub shoulders with, like this one that was just in Houston last weekend. I just got back last night. There were between 70 and 80,000 NRA members that showed up at that. So
that's something.
It really gives you a different perspective when you're surrounded by so many like-minded people. It's kind of like church for NRA members, really,
Yeah, I can remember even when we'd go to our regional, meetings, or we'd get together, out at headquarters just with the reps and the field operations division as a whole. Just having that many like-minded people just feels good, don't it?
It does, yeah. Yeah, it really gives you, some faith in the Second Amendment and people that love it, and that, it's not a battle that's been lost,
Right. Dan says, I went to Arizona in February 2024, stopped at the center on the way and shot trap, pistol range, and rifle. I was the only person in each range at the Whittington Center. And Dan's been there before, so. Yeah.
Dan, what was the weather like in February of 24 in February?
Yeah, I imagine it wasn't too bad, was it? Well,
I wouldn't think
let us know. I know what's this one here, David. It's got amazing improved shot marker is awesome, man. There you go. I noticed I got something new in my restream. They're changing stuff. Every time I click one on and show it, then it gives me a different color on my side. You guys don't see it, but it's kind of messing with me because it's like, what's going on over there? But anyway, yeah. So let's annual meeting. So I can tell you right now, and I know Jason had actually encouraged me at one point. We'll see. I really am kind of thinking and throwing the idea around of running for the NRA board. I haven't committed to it yet. Next year, possibly, but we'll see where I'm at. Nothing else, maybe 2028. If I'm going to annual meetings in 2028, for sure, maybe that's the time to do it, right? We'll make that a two-year run, because all I can tell you is that I think they need just a few more good members on there to implement everything that NRA 2.0
You guys are on Facebook, which I know probably quite a few of you are. Check out a site called Members Take Back Our NRA on Facebook.
There you go.
That's a really good website to stay, or Facebook page to stay up with what's been going on at the national level with the big board and all that kind of stuff.
And they're doing a good job, I think.
Oh, Shoots Trash. That's a good descriptor for you, whoever you are on Shoots Trash, talking about the NRA.
We got one of these guys on here. Well, Shoots Trash.
I would say this about GOA. You guys, every Second Amendment group out there is awesome. It takes a family of all of us to get together, but there's no larger gorilla in the fight than the NRA. And even GOA will admit that they can't even carry the water that the NRA does. So
absolutely,
I'm not opposed to GOA at all. I'm proud to be, that they're in the fight with us. Second Amendment Foundation's another one. There's a lot of groups that popped up, but the undisputed champion of Second Amendment protection has definitely been the NRA. 155 years in this fight.
Yes, and we've talked about that so many times on here that love or hate NRA. NRA is the number one organization, especially after 1968 Gun Control Act, and then in 76, I think it was, I'd have to go look at the actual year when they formed ILA. And that's when they really got involved into politics because of the passage of 1968 gun control. That is what really kind of formed that.
I'll say this with all pride and full dignity. If it wasn't for the NRA being started in 1871 and doing what they've done already for our Second Amendment rights, there's a very high likelihood that we wouldn't exist as a country today in the shape that we're in even now. I mean, it's one of those things that the NRA really has salvaged our Second Amendment and First Amendment rights. The Second Amendment defends the First. So, all you have to do is look at just in the past, 3 or 4 years, that's really come into the limelight. Elon Musk, when he bought Twitter, really showcased that at a high level. The media had literally taken over almost all platforms in that regard. So, there you go. Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, if it wasn't for the NRA and for folks like Elon Musk, we wouldn't even be able to talk about it at a national level and on the platforms that we can today. So,
right. Hey, Dan said it was windy and temps in the 50s. There you go.
That sounds pretty darn good compared to Eastern North Dakota in February.
So Jamie brings up a good point here, and he's right. Gun Owners America doesn't even have a presence at committee meetings in North Dakota. He's talking about the legislature. All they do is send emails. And let's face it, I'm not against Gun Owners of America. But they ride the curtails of the NRA just as every one of them groups pretty much does. The NRA is the only group who shows up. That's right. And that's directly from my representative in District 35. And I can tell you, Jamie and I have both been there. Several also had. That is who is there. I actually know who the guy is that comes there. And he represents the NRA at the legislature when it's in session. And they are the only ones that show up.
Yeah. And if you guys have been at an annual meeting, it was really a magical time for the NRA. I mean, I think, we are really, with that. And that's why I shared that Facebook page with everybody on the call here on this, on this chat, because you can't believe the folks, and Clay's talking about running for the board of directors of the NRA. That's a completely volunteer position. These folks travel all over the country. They put in literally hours. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact, the NRA board of directors met for 12 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And Houston, just to get all the things dialed in that needed dialed in. So,
oh, look at there. We just got hit hard. Well, we're going to take care of that.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to stop streaming to Kick because I think he's the only guy listening there anyway. There. No more Kick.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, right now, like I said, I've very much been considering running. Because I've talked with, I know several guys that have run on there now. Craig Haggard's gotten on there. Jason Wilson. Our former Florida, he was a Florida field rep, and then he become a regional director, and now he's on the, Al Hammond, he's on the board of directors, and there's an array of other ones. But
I spent a lot of time with Al this weekend.
Al's a good guy.
absolute champion for the Second Amendment.
If you talk to him again, you'll have to ask him how we had him pinned down when we were down in Tennessee at our summer meetings in paintball. We had that boy. There was no escape.
That's funny.
We had some fun. And
going to that point, he just loves this place. He's a huge champion of the Friends program and, the whole field operations. He's been at every level in the NRA, and I think it's really high time that summer and winter meetings for the field operations staff come back to Whittington.
I think it'd be fun to have it there, you guys. I really do. It's just, again, a fantastic place to hold stuff like, and you guys, it's already owned by the NRA.
Yeah.
Why not use the facility?
Well, and I think, when you're in the fight for the Second Amendment, one of the best things you can do as a team building event is to go shoot,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we did that when we were out there. But so getting back to the NRA annual meetings, we know that the board, I knew they were going to meet. I didn't realize it ended up being a 12-hour meeting, but there's a lot of things to discuss. I think they've made a ton of headway.
Well, they got into bylaws. I should say that wasn't a big fight.
No.
One of the things that's very important to do with the NRA board of directors is to basically make absolutely sure and certain that there's never an opportunity for anybody to take over that board again. So,
and my question is I know at one point they were talking about shrinking the board too somewhat. I don't know if that has come about. I think it's a good idea. It's a huge board.
It is. 76 members is a huge board, and they are the NRA at a high level is seeking consulting regarding that. But I think the original intent was to include folks like Clay Peterson from South Dakota, to make sure. I mean, there's only 50 states in our union. I think what the original intent was probably good, but you can get kind of hung up in the weeds when there's that many people and that many opinions. But it's pretty important that the NRA is for everybody.
Oh, it is. And I can tell you right now, I know what the commitment is. That's why I haven't, I got asked to run this year. I was like, nah, I have way too many things going on here right now, especially with some of the changes I've made here at the ranch. But my boys are getting to that age where in a year or two, they should be able to handle the day-to-days, and dad can go do stuff like that because like you mentioned, they'll get paid for that. Not everything has a paycheck, and I'm fine with that. I'm in a position in my life where I can do that. And I think that's most of the board members there, wouldn't you say? That's their position, because it's not a paid job. You are traveling pretty much.
No, and honestly, a lot of the board, they don't even seek reimbursement. There are possibilities for travel reimbursement, but obviously it's very well controlled now. And a lot of the folks that are on the board now, they don't even seek that out. They're really in it to win it, and times are tough and people are struggling. Who you want. But there's folks that are on the board that get a little bit of reimbursement for their travel and comp their rooms, but that's about it. Obviously there's some group meals and stuff, but I can tell you it's a new NRA from the top level down. I mean, there's a lot more transparency. Even the Whittington Board of Trustees is, it's completely revised and revamped. They've added a lot of people from all over the country. They added trustee members from all across the country just to ensure that it wasn't a little group of old white men that were running the show, basically I'm the old guy, so I can diss on white people.
That's where you go.
There's a lot of sensitivity out there about that, and we really want, the NRA across the board really wants the Second Amendment and the NRA to be for everyone. It's for the membership is what it's for. So.
And I can tell you this as a retired rep. It was tough for me at times. I'd get questions from the volunteers. I'm sure even in 9 months you were there as a rep, you get these questions. We don't have the answers. We were spoon-fed some bad information, some fake information. They call it fake news now. And I literally, like I was telling you before the show, I went to bat and defended Wayne LaPierre and some of these guys because that's what we were told, right? And it made us look foolish after we found out everything was going on. So talk about causing a trust issue. I mean, I was like, man, I defended this guy because I really believed what we were being told was the truth. And then I find out it wasn't. And it wasn't just him. I've seen some of the things Skip has made, some of the comments he's made. And now you look at the situation with the NRA Foundation and trying to essentially change bylaws and go off on their own, which they can't. The foundation was created by NRA.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the bylaws of the NRA, they can't do what they're doing, but they don't care. And that was their attitude. It's that same group of people, some of them that left the board or got defeated, went over to the NRA Foundation board, or they were part of the old guard at NRA, and now they planted themselves at the foundation.
Yep.
And that tells you, it's just like we see in politics. I see it in the Republican Party. The old guys that have caused some of the problems, or they're not holding true to what I would say would be the platform. Well, same with these guys in the NRA. They weren't holding true to the bylaws and the foundational existence of the NRA. They didn't see the wrong they did. They just went planted themselves somewhere else now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's unfortunate. And I think, we're going to find that whole scenario is going to work itself out.
I believe that too.
The analogy I like to make, Clay, is how many of you have been involved in a church that split or, had issues with the minister and everybody kind of went off and did their own thing. And, there's when people's egos and people's own interests get in the way of the big picture, things go to heck. And so, I want to plug the members, Take Back Our NRA Facebook page. There's a tremendous push at the ground level for everybody to just dive in and, get involved in the NRA. And again, I mean, not only you, Clay, but anybody, I'd encourage any of your listeners, if there's a burden in your heart to support the Second Amendment at a high level, run for the NRA board. Absolutely do it. And there's tools out there and there's people that'll help you with the campaign and get your name out. But really what it boils down to is get involved at a high level. Amanda Sufcool, I want to plug her. She's a great new board member, very active. She's got a syndicated radio program, and she's got a good Facebook following and all that kind of stuff. Her and Rob have a great show. This year was the first time at annual meeting, which is another opportunity for you, Clay. They had the voices of the Second Amendment, and they had one wing or one aisle kind of set up during in the 14 acres of vendor booths.
Wow.
They had one area that was dedicated to podcasts, live streams, radio shows. John Petrolino was in there. All the big name Second Amendment advocates were involved, and it was just an awesome event. It really was. And they were, for 3 days straight, they were live streaming and taking people that were members and shooters and vendors, firearms industry people. Got to meet the Anthony Imperato from Henry.
Oh yeah, from Henry.
He would run around. He's been a huge supporter of the NRA.
Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
Yeah, I met him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a heck of a good guy and genuine. They're about as genuine as they come as in Anthony. He's just a fantastic supporter. He was big time supporting us even when I was in there. So yeah, my kudos to that guy.
Another one that's a big one. Pete Brownell is now on the board. He's even on the Whittington trustee board. We've also got Randy Luth with Luth AR.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Randy, he sold DPMS back in the day. He was basically one of the first innovators in the AR world, the black rifle world, and sold DPMS, and then now started his own company again called Luth AR. But Randy's on the NRA board and a trustee for Whittington as well. So we've got some great industry support again. And those folks, the Rugers were just handed their gold jacket as a Ring of Freedom gold jacket company.
they've been a great supporter too. If you're wondering, everybody, I put up the future NRA annual meetings and exhibits and his board meetings in there. That's on the site that you were talking about. In fact, Amanda, would you say, how do you pronounce that? Amanda
Suffolcool?
She's the one that posted this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Want to know when and where the NRA board is meeting next? Here are the dates and locations. It's open to members with the exception of limited executive sessions and strategic financial items. And I guess I wanted to point that out. I guess I knew that. The board meetings are open to members, always have been.
Yep.
But they were putting up some roadblocks at times. But let's just face it, they're usually held out in Virginia. Not a lot of people from Wyoming, North and South Dakota are going to travel out there, are they?
No, that's right. I mean, and I think that's where we're at with the NRA. Full disclosure, I'm going to pitch, that we have annual meeting either in Denver or Rapid City soon. There's no doubt in my mind that either of those places could support it. Denver probably needs it worse than Rapid City does,
I think the biggest obstacle in Rapid City is a venue big enough to hold the actual exhibition, the exhibit.
I think that monument would do it. I don't know.
It's not as, maybe. There is a lot of levels there, but you never know. They had it in Minneapolis one year. I should have went that year and I didn't go, but that's the closest I can ever remember it getting here. I don't think they've been back to Colorado. I think they had it in Denver one year, and then you had the whole school shooting thing, Columbine, and I don't think they've been back to Colorado since.
Yeah, and it runs into a safety issue with protesters and things like that. But I think we're kind of in the new renaissance for the NRA and the Second Amendment. We've got a 2-time, elected Trump presidency now. And I think people have had enough. We've, the border issues and the immigration issues that we're facing right now across the country. People are starting to stand up and realize we have to get this country back on track or we're going to lose it. And then we're all going to be standing there in the bar ditch watching this happen. And
so I'm going to read. This is one I found on the Members Take Back Our NRA. This is James D. Cruz. First board meeting in the NRA books. My thoughts. Very impressed by the uniform sense of purpose that inhabits the board and the officers. I entered quite skeptical of the sincerity of the changes that were being implemented, but it did not take long for me to see that this group is genuinely passionate 2A supporters looking to rehabilitate and rebuild the NRA into the powerhouse it should be. That's the first paragraph.
Yeah.
And he goes on.
I can tell you, James DeCruz, I met James. He is a very young, very dynamic person. We have another one I want to put on your radar too is Huey Laugesen. Huey Laugesen just was elected to the board as a 20-year-old in his early 20s.
Oh, wow.
From Colorado. And, that's where we're at, folks. That's where we need to be. We need to get some young blood involved in the Second Amendment fight, or we're totally going to lose this fight at a large level.
That's very true. And like you said, we're getting older. I'll be 52 this year. It's not old, but if we don't bring in the next generation, it will go away.
Yep, it's done. There I am. I actually made your highlight reel. I'm over there in the green shirt and the cowboy hat.
Oh, let me see. We're at here. Down here?
Yeah, upper
right there.
Corner. There I am.
There he is, right there, everybody.
There I am. That's the voices of the 2A that we were just talking about. And we literally had, probably, I think there were 34 different media groups with podcasting equipment set up and radio, TV, videography equipment set up, just interviewing folks,
Well, and I had actually considered, except it's right during calving for me right now.
Yeah.
The next time in Orlando, it's in May, so that's better. But April's out for me, at least right now.
If we can just talk Clay into running some good heifer bulls, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Just and then come home. Yeah, no. But I would love to be there. And I had thought about that. It looked like I probably, when I looked online to see what it took to go there as a credentialed, broadcaster, we're legit. I mean, we have everything we need.
Oh yeah.
And we definitely could have done it. And I think it would have been interesting to do that and actually broadcast live from the NRA Annual meeting. So we'll see. I haven't decided yet. It's just
this was the very first year that they had that, but I can tell you, it is definitely going to happen from here on out. I mean,
right.
It's one of those deals where, I mean, you're in the podcasting world, but that's what needs to happen at a much higher level. Is the media, we need to take over more and more opportunities to really spread the word that we're not all just old time, gun-toting rednecks that are just, out there looking for somebody to shoot. Firearms ownership is about protecting your family from tyranny,
Absolutely. That is what the Second Amendment is about.
Yep.
That is its priority. That's why our founders put it in there. It wasn't, and hunting's just, and recreational shooting, that's just a side effect that we love to do. It's something we get to do because of the Second Amendment and what it stands for, and not the other way around. That's why when
one of the things that I want to showcase about shooting sports specifically, and full disclosure, this wasn't even on my radar until I started getting involved with the Friends program and field operations and actually fundraising for shooting sports. But, there's a lot of kids out there that are looking for something to excel at. They're not a basketball player. They're not a volleyball player. They're not a football player. They don't have that type of athletic ability, but you'd be surprised at how many of those kids that are kind of on the fringe, you put a gun in their hands and teach them how to shoot, and all of a sudden it trips the trigger. I'm like, wow, I can do good at this, even if it's just silhouettes or clay pigeons, targets, whatever. That's one of those opportunities for young people that I think it's lost on a lot of kids, out of the sport. So
and that's why I'm pulling this up here. If everyone's wondering here, I'm pulling up the North Dakota Shooting Sports Association because even they're still very active with their junior programs.
Yeah.
You also have the 4-H shooting, but that kind of cuts off after a certain age. They don't exist. It's just not there anymore. These guys have shooters that go on into college. We, as the Friends of NRA and the North Dakota State Fund Committee, we funded the NDSU shooting sports, or their shooting team, when it first started. That's how it got going.
Yeah.
And of course, they had a lot of other fundraisers going on. But anyone in North Dakota, a lot of people still don't know this, that they have an active junior program.
Yeah.
And I really, really encourage you guys to go check these guys out too, ndssa.org. It's a very grassroots organization. My friend David Feddick, who also has 701 Marksmanship show here on our network, he's part of this now. Him and I have had some great conversations. I've been in contact with one guy, and I need to do some more with him because he wants me to come up and take a look at the range. You talked about the old guys and the old guard. It's changing their rights. They're just starting that process here. And the younger guys are coming in and they want to really do some things at North Dakota Shooting Sports Association. They really want to do some things with the Bismarck Mandan Rifle and Pistol Association's range up by Moffett. Start modernizing it, start getting it, do some maintenance and fix some things up that have been neglected.
Yeah.
And that's all because you got the younger guys entering that. So that's good, but I'm telling you, if you want to get your kids started, get a hold of the North Dakota Shooting Sports Association. They can put you into contact with people that are going to get these kids going because, Nate, you're absolutely right. If we don't bring that next generation, we're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but, we've got some ground to make up for sure.
Absolutely.
We've kind of dropped the ball a little bit with the whole COVID time, and people's mental health is at stake in a lot of ways. And, I think that, it's high time that the conservative folks in our country realize that we've got to get our voices heard. We've got to be out there actively fighting for our way of life, or it's a lost cause.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm looking at their board of directors here, and I know a lot of these people on there. Eric Pepke, they're in that Fargo area. Him and his wife were both part of our Friends of NRA programs. They're very active with the shooting sports. Tom Thompson, now he's retired. This guy he knows the junior programs. That's your guy if you want to contact somebody, because he will do you right and he'll get you in touch and active within the programs. That's what he does. He lives and breathes it. We were just talking about board members doing the same thing. We're finding people like that, right?
Yeah.
People got to live it, breathe it, and really embrace it. Honestly, when we're talking about pay, I don't want the guys there that want to just strictly be paid. They're not there for the right reasons. I want people that are involved with these things because they want to give back and support it with everything they got. Yeah. And whether that's financial, whether that's volunteering, that's the people that make these organizations strong. Guys getting paid, it's just that. They get a paycheck, right?
That's right. Having an active, and nothing against the folks that are that have wealth, but I think we're in a position where the representation has to be across the board from all levels of society.
Yep.
Even and this is something that's kind of lost on folks from the Dakotas and Wyoming and that part of the world, but we're really seeing a resurgence, or not a resurgence, but the African American community, the Hispanic community, some of the most marginalized people in society who actually need the Second Amendment and need protection are finally starting to figure out that the NRA is for them as well. And, I think we have to wrap our minds around that, without brushing shoulders with people and sharing our love for guns and for firearms and, just the opportunities. I mean, we all grew up with a 22 and a dad that would take us out plinking or shooting rabbits or whatever. But, if you never had those opportunities, that's one thing that I'm focusing on at Whittington. We have to have the mentality that if somebody drives on site and they pull up to the front door and they've never seen a gun, they've never held a gun in real life, they've never had a dad introduce them to firearms ownership, we have to have a mechanism at the Whittington Center and other clubs and shooting ranges across this country where we have somebody that's hospitable enough and loves people enough to really say to those folks, hey, you don't have to be scared. We'll bring you on. We'll show you the range. We'll put a suppressor on a gun and make it where it's not a loud bang right away. And We'll put hearing protection on you. But we want to show you how fun this really is, and it's not about killing something. It's about proficiency. And it's about learning how to be proficient enough that you have a comfort level that you can protect yourself and your family if you need to.
Well, and you want it to be an enjoyable moment.
Yeah.
Anytime you're introducing somebody, I don't care if it's a kid, a young adult, or a 50-year-old man. If you introduce them to it in the wrong way and it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, and it seemed burdensome, they're never coming back.
There you go.
They're just never coming back.
You really have one. You're spot on, Clay. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You really have that one choice or one chance when they walk on site. The first time that they're interested,
that first impression. Yep.
Yeah, that first impression is absolutely key. If somebody doesn't really take them and wrap their arm around them and say, "Hey, we just want to show you what this is all about," we're not going to push anything on you. It's not about politics. That's what I think.
And it has to be really universal.
One of the most amazing opportunities to do that.
Yeah, shooting sports, learning how to shoot, whatever it might be, the discipline, that first interaction, and it should be colorblind. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you look like. But it should be somebody who, when they show up there, and the reason we had these discussions back when I was a rep, it should be, hey, hi, my name is Clayton Peterson, NRA field rep. Welcome. What can I help you with? And it should be smile. It should be happy and uplifting. That right there, that first impression will set the course onto how that goes.
Yeah.
But if you got some guy up there like, hey, hi, what you doing here? That's not what you want. You don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't hit them overhead with a bunch of rhetoric,
Right.
about politics. Just all politics aside, one of the best things I've ever heard anybody say is, when have you ever changed anyone's mind by standing and screaming in their face?
Never. Yeah. Let's go back to a couple things here because I see the comments in here. Doug, he says the monument, in Rapid City, he says has at least 57,000 square feet of vendor space. So that's good to know. But you need more than vendor space. You got to have places for the speakers to speak. You, of course, have the annual NRA Foundation banquet. There's a lot of other things going on there too. But I would love to see them at least look at it. Can you imagine dropping 70,000 people into Rapid City area? And that's just I think it would be bigger because you're going to draw the people from my area. You're going to draw from neighboring states. You might even draw some Canadians down there. Trust me, there's Canadian NRA members, everybody. I think it'd be absolutely great if you could do it. Kelly says, I had a friend's daughter make the national match last week in Talladega. I have not seen that, Kelly. I'm going to have to go look that up. That's what I'm getting at. The North and South Dakota, I don't know if it's because we have so many opportunities to just go out and shoot, especially out here in the rural area. I mean, I got my own range right here. I don't have to go nowhere. But with that, people haven't really gotten involved then in those competitions, honestly.
Yeah.
David says, thanks for the plug. Without the members, we would have nothing. Absolutely. Without the membership, these organizations, I don't care if it's NRA, whether it's Whittington, whether it's North Dakota Shooting Sports, whether it's your local trap club, without active members and new members coming up, it goes away, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely does. And that's the thing. The demographic amongst members is aging. So we really have to introduce new folks. One of the things I want to plug about Whittington too is, one of my goals before I'm old and decrepit and I end up, retiring from this position, I hope it works out that I can build enough of an endowment. The Whittington Center is paid for, but it costs about $500,000 a year. Well, actually, no, I got that number way wrong. It's more like $400,000 a month to operate this facility.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pretty expensive. So, that's classically come from donations. But one of the things we're looking at is new revenue streams and those kinds of things and kind of looking at it more of a business-like manner. But what I would really like to attain as a goal is to build a big enough endowment and a corpus of money that we can actually pull from our endowment every year and fund shooting sports just like the Friends program does across the nation. Have a grant-supported program to where the Whittington Center actually has enough cash flow through its endowment that we can, dole out, a couple $1 million a year and, build that thing.
It's funny you mentioned that. So evidently that's still being discussed because that was being discussed when I was there, when I first come on board, 2007. And we were talking to some of the people from Whittington because, those guys would come out to headquarters too. And that was the talk then. So 2007, think about how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I'm glad and I think this is probably the opportunity with the change at NRA.
It is, and there is an endowment. There's a small one there, but it just hasn't ever been grown to the point where we can actually give back again.
It doesn't. They don't get enough people interested in donating to it, and then I don't know how they've invested it. I've never kept up on it. But so Nathan John says we need more allies and more people taking up the firearms lifestyle. Absolutely, Nathan. That's fundamental. By creating shooters. Creating what do you want to say? Get rid of the fear of firearms that let's face it, cities and public schools are part of this problem. They teach kids right away and they're horrible. I mean, I had a cousin in the Twin Cities who he was younger and he come out to my place one time. He goes, are you a bad person? I go, why would you say that? Well, because you have guns. That's what he was taught in school.
Yeah.
And when you got to get rid of that, that whole rabbit hole of public schools, I call them government indoctrination schools. But I'm not even going to go down that tonight. But that's what we have to overcome. When you actually, like people like me, I didn't grow up hunting, believe it or not. I don't know if I told you that, but I didn't start hunting till I was 16 years old. You know why? Because I had a friend and his dad invited me to come. He's the guy that introduced me to firearms. I'm like, I am that example of introduce a kid to hunting and shooting. Hey, you'll never have enough money to get in trouble because you're going to spend it all on that. And you're going to create a lifelong Second Amendment supporter doing it.
Yeah.
You know, hunting and shooting is the vehicle that's going to create the political activist that defends the Second Amendment. It always has been. Yeah. And if you don't start them young, and my kids have been handling firearms since they were old enough to hold one and shooting them. If you don't start them at that age,
well, and I would encourage landowners too. That's one of the things that I've noticed in my life, and you know, you've probably noticed it as well, Clay. When I was a kid growing up in southeastern North Dakota in Ellendale, I graduated in '93 from Ellendale, North Dakota, a small town of 1,200 people. I could literally leave the town of Ellendale in a 2-wheel drive car and drive county roads and hunt pheasants. Just about any direction from Ellendale, North Dakota. There was so much land that was, you know, it was all privately owned, but we knew each other. We knew those folks. You know, you asked permission, you did the right thing. You had a dad that taught you how to do it, or a friend. And once people realized who you were and understood, and then, you know, we started leasing all of our land to outfitters and different things. And I've been in the outfitting business. I see the business side of things. But I would like to encourage landowners to at least entertain the idea of taking young kids in and letting them hunt, and you know, letting a few folks, you know, even if you have a lease with an outfitter, tell the outfitter, just say, here's the deal, you know, I'm going to let you hunt and you can lease this place, but I want you to be okay with introducing opportunity to youth, because you know, that's one thing that's changed a lot across the West. It's changing in Wyoming and in South Dakota as well. But the opportunities to get outdoors and do things, there's some things that have affected that. So,
well, there is, and that's a whole nother show that maybe you and I could do.
It really is,
because as a landowner, and I don't have the biggest place, we have about 3,200 acres, but it's good sized. I don't generally turn away kids, okay? But I do not let anybody and everybody hunt anymore.
No.
It's because it's been abused horribly. And it seems like the hunter, and I'm not blaming the young kids, because it's not them. The hunter as a whole, and I'm talking these 25 to 35-year-old entitled people, the attitudes they have makes me want to say, go pound it.
Yeah.
Or they'll trespass on the land. And that's not good. It's not good for landowners. It's not good for hunting. It sure isn't good for gun ownership. And it surely isn't good for the Second Amendment. And I don't know where we bridge that. And I don't know where this attitude is developed, because I sure didn't make them be that way.
It is. It's a tough nut to crack. And you're right. I mean, we're not going to solve it in one. What do we have? About 13 minutes left. But I just want to encourage people to at least, you know, at whatever level you're able, with your place, whether it's a local church group, you know, from your church, maybe you just, you know, you say, hey, to a few key people in your church, your minister, hey, can we offer the opportunity for a few of the youth in a very controlled manner? I love, you know, the South Dakota Youth Hunting Adventures for that very reason.
I was just going to mention,
you know, I've gotten to be really good friends with Mr. Jim Skull, and you know, I think that's the kind of thing. It's just a great organization, and mentored hunting. You know, it's not lost on any of us. You know, we grew up in these areas in the Midwest where we're fairly conservative. People are generally good people. You know, that kind of thing. But we have to understand that there's a lot of people that haven't grown up with our ideals, you know.
Oh, and now they're starting
character,
and they're starting to move out here, and that's causing problems too. I can't tell you how many people I run into that have moved here from California, have moved here from Oregon and Washington, Pennsylvania, all the states, Colorado even, that it took till now. This is the problem. It took till now for them to get fed up. Well, it's been bad for 20 years plus in them states, and they're bringing their ideas with them, and you're starting to see that show up in our local city councils and our county commissions, and now they're raising havoc in the cities, but it's coming to us.
Yeah.
And that's a problem too. So
I want to answer your questions.
I was going to say, we got some deals here. Kelly Chase said that was the Junior Olympics. Doug said that they have the theater, and yeah, I know the theater. I don't know how many that holds. I've been in there for several things for speakers. It kind of depends on the speaker. You bring in President Trump, which he can show up at times.
Oh boy.
And has. Now you need a big facility. But I still think if they could make it happen, they should. Maybe they work in conjunction. You've got that whole Central States Fairgrounds area now too. So there is some things, and it's not unheard of for these big annual meetings to have a couple different places, all part of the annual meeting and convention. Corey said, my nephew is heading to Salt Lake City for National Archery this week, Garrison, North Dakota team. See, this is awesome.
That's pretty cool that the kids from Garrison, North Dakota are going to Salt Lake to shoot. That's what this is all about, folks.
So Kelly asked, are there any programs that go into schools? So through the NRA. I know when I was a rep, we had YHEC. I'm sure you remember that youth.
Yeah, YHEC is coming back to the Whittington Center.
Awesome.
It has kind of moved away, but Matt Fleming and David Helmer are in the outdoor and hunting conservation. You know Matt?
I know David pretty darn good.
Yeah, and those guys are running the NRA's hunting and conservation side now. Spent a lot of time with those guys at annual meeting. Al Hammond has facilitated that at a high level through the board. That YHEC will be back at Whittington, so Youth Hunters Education Conference. So yes, Kelly, and I also want to plug the Eddie Eagle program. Eddie Eagle has been, kind of let go in the Midwest and, in this part of the world. And I think it's just hard to see for folks who've been raised with guns and firearms ownership to see the value of it. But it's very, very popular in Missouri and Indiana and places where there's still a lot of kids that haven't had exposure to guns. So
I tried to do that here, right? And I was able to actually get it into a Head Start program, which was interesting. I didn't think I'd be able to do it there. Those are pretty young kids.
Yeah.
The school, no interest. And then there are some parameters there. They really encourage to have law enforcement do it. First, you got to have the law enforcement organization in your area willing to do it. And I couldn't believe the pushback on that. Now, it's been several years since I've been a rep. But we didn't really have friendly faces in even in our smaller law enforcement communities that wanted to help facilitate Eddie Eagle.
Yeah.
And Eddie Eagle is a phenomenal program. Where we did do it, I ran into them kids years later, and they're like, "Oh, I remember when you did it," because I went out and did it myself a couple times, because I could do it as a rep, and I don't know what the parameters are now, but I think that maybe it's changing. We've helped pass a lot of laws where schools can arm their teachers and their staff. I think the shootings have all made that happen and changed that outlook, rather than being sitting ducks in a school to now saying, "Hey, wait a second, we better probably maybe start embracing some of this." So who knows? But Eddie Eagle's it's a great program, and it does definitely, the kids who go through that, they remember it. They really do.
Oh boy. And another thing too, Kelly, is the youth, 4-H shooting sports has been very, very supported by the NRA and the Friends program. I know that's not necessarily directly in the schools, but, it's school kids that are there. So I would encourage, everybody that's listening, get your kids involved in 4-H. And, and if there isn't a 4-H shooting club in your local community, try to support that any way you can, volunteer, help get one going. One of the folks in Riverton, Wyoming, that's just awesome is Cindy Pfister. She's in her 70s. She just absolutely champions 4-H shooting sports. And it's just a great thing. It really is.
It's a good program. And, as we all know, 4-H is actually a government-run program pretty much. That's how
it is now.
Which is amazing they've kept it. And there's a lot of good shooters come up through that and become junior Olympic shooters. And same with, like I said, when I contrast North and South Dakota, and that's who our mainly base is of listeners, North Dakota, I'm going to encourage you to go to North Dakota Shooting Sports Association and start there, because they have one of the best junior shooting programs for all disciplines that I've seen in a state organization. In South Dakota, it was 4-H. The South Dakota Shooting Sports Association didn't focus on that near as much. And they did focus a lot more on legislative issues, which is fine. So, not all created equal. That's okay, but they are there. As far as junior rifle clubs that used to exist in the schools, they kind of went away, but we did start supporting the ROTC junior programs. That's supported by NRA, and even established teams like in Minot and Sioux Falls and some of these other towns. And that's when I was there. I hope it's growing. I have no clue what it's doing now. But so there are places and there are schools. And if you don't have one, reach out to Nate. Or reach out to me. I'm not a rep anymore, but I'm still connected. I can probably find somebody to talk to.
It's true. And even though I got, we had some struggles with the Friends program, and I ended up getting laid off, and then this opportunity opened up for me. I drove all the way to Riverton, Wyoming, and MC'd a banquet. We had a net of about 58,000 this year at Riverton, Wyoming, just in a small town in Wyoming. So, if you're interested in supporting the Friends of NRA as a volunteer, please reach out to Clay or myself, and we will put you in contact. And heck, we might even come and help you kind of get your feet wet and figure out how to run a banquet and do those kinds of things, because that's what this is all about. That's where the new NRA 2.0 board wants this all to go. We have to be supportive of our membership at all levels and all disciplines. We have to get more people involved at all different levels throughout the NRA. The NRA is a huge organization. There's literally dozens of programs that have been pretty much wholly supported by folks who support the Second Amendment. And, again, if you know somebody that's interested in supporting a program within the NRA, please reach out. Clay had my information up earlier. I don't know where it is now, but I scrolled through. I don't know if you can see it now, but there you are again. But yeah, please reach out to me if you're interested in a specific discipline and bringing a national match to Whittington. I'd love to hear from you personally. That cell phone lives right next to me all the time. I'm not an 8 to 5 guy. I've calved heifers just like Clay talked about earlier. I calved 463 2-year-olds one year with one Mexican helper. So,
oh my goodness, you were
kind of a workaholic. So I think the NRA is getting their money's worth out of me. But that's what it takes. That's really where I'm at. I know Clay's heart is in this. Obviously, this podcast is all about being supportive of the Second Amendment and the NRA, and just love that you guys are following this podcast. Follow Amanda Suffcool. You'll get hooked up with a lot of other folks through that members Facebook page. The NRA is back in a big way, and
that's the message right there.
Yeah, and it's not out of the ordinary for a small town North Dakota person to be on the board of directors with the NRA now. And that may not have always been the case in the past, but it's the way it is now.
It wasn't. They were worried about names like Bill Barr and I love Ted Nugent on there, but they went after celebrities more than they were going after real people for a long time. So, well, I tell you what, we're about out of time here. So Nate, I'm very glad you were able to join me, and I hope you're going to be a regular guest here, because I think this is great.
Yeah,
this is a great way to get information out.
It is. It absolutely is.
And there's all this information. If most of the people listening here know me. If you can't, go to gunsandthe701.com. You can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of anybody there. You can email us at gunsandthe701.com. We made it really easy for you to remember that. Those do come into my personal account, and I do answer them. And I want to remind everybody that Friday we have Blackbeard Logic coming up at 5 p.m. Right there on Blackbeard Logic on all of our network platforms. Friday morning, I'll be on with Todd Mitchell, KFYR Mitchell in the morning, 7:15 Central, 8:15 in the 7:15 Mountain, 8:15 in the Central Time Zone. Sunday Sportsman's Devotion with Pastor Vance Bishop does a fantastic job. If you missed last week's, go watch the replay because Vance had a great show last week on Sunday. And of course, right here every single Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central. And tomorrow, if you want, Jamie has moved into the Wednesday slot. You can catch his 701 Nation show there. Jamie, I'll give you a little plug there. And he's got some great content as well. Anyway, Nate, I think we're going to have to call this a wrap. Really enjoy you coming on here. Again, you're going to want to go hit the Whittington Center website, which is nrawc.org. Check it out. Make some plans. Go down there and visit it. Say hi to Nate. And he'll probably take you on a personal tour. I don't know.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'll roll out the red carpet for anybody from this part of the world. I love the Dakotas and Wyoming, Montana, all that stuff. You know, you guys are all welcome anytime.
Brian says, good show, guys. Appreciate that, Brian. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, everybody, look over there. There's a subscription number. You can icon, just go ahead and hit that QR code, and we've got some subs that are, and it's what keeps all these things going. Thanks to our great sponsors. Lauer Auto's been with us since the very beginning. I call him my founding sponsor because he's been here since the very beginning. And of course, our great volunteers that help out with things, shoots, things like that, and then everybody else that supports it. Like, share, follow, and we'll see everybody here next week, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central. Thanks again. Keep your powder dry, and God bless. Thanks, Nate.